This is not a city, but it can carry the products of a city. A modern cargo ship can be 400 meters long and hold 19,630 TEU. That is the size of Meyer's second-generation Triple E ships, among the largest container vessels ever ordered. On ships this size, the crew can be shockingly small. The IMO has recorded major cargo vessels operating with crews of 20 people. That means a handful of humans are responsible for a machine bigger than a skyscraper, moving through storms, ports, piracy zones, and the most complex trade network on Earth. People imagine ships as steel and containers. That is too small a picture. A cargo ship is a floating industrial system built to keep global trade alive. The International Chamber of Shipping says maritime transport moves roughly 90% of world trade by volume, and there are nearly 2 million seafarers working across the global fleet. So when you look at a container ship, you are not looking at one vehicle. You are looking at one tiny crew inside one of the main engines of the world economy. The strange part is this. The bigger the ship gets, the fewer people it usually needs. That is not because the work is easy, it is because the ship is designed around automation, redundancy, and standardized routines. The IMO's safe manning principles exist for exactly this reason. The ship must be sufficiently and efficiently manned for safe navigation, port operations, and crew welfare, not flooded with extra people. In other words, shipping is a business built on doing more with less. So what do those 20 people actually control? They are not just sailing the ship. They are managing propulsion, navigation, cargo stability, ballast, engine condition, safety systems, bridge watch, emergency response, communications, and port entry. One mistake in any of those systems can create a disaster. The IMO has repeatedly documented cargo losses, groundings, and machinery failures where a very small crew had to manage enormous risk in real time. The whole machine depends on a few people staying alert for long hours while the ship keeps moving at sea. And this machine is not cheap. Maersk's own vessel orders show how huge the numbers get. In 2022, it ordered 6 17,000 TEU vessels, each designed to run on green methanol, and in 2015, it ordered 19,630 TEU ships that were about 400 meters long, and that can cost around $165 million to build. These are floating assets on the scale of major infrastructure projects, not normal vehicles. In the industry, size is not just about prestige, it is about carrying more cargo, spreading fuel and crew costs over more containers, and trying to win on efficiency. But here is the part most people miss. The ship's size makes it powerful, not invincible. The bigger the vessel, the more complicated the lashing, routing, and safety calculations become. The IMO has warned that on ultra-large container ships, the lashing limits are based on complicated software calculations and are not always transparent to the crew. So the people on board are not just driving a ship. They are managing a machine where cargo restraint, weather, and routing can decide whether the voyage succeeds or fails. That is why the crew matters so much. A vessel can be hundreds of meters long, but at the end of the day, it is held together by a small group of people watching instruments, checking alarms, calling ports, and preventing tiny failures from becoming expensive ones. The IMO's recent incident reporting shows cargo vessels with crew numbers around 20, and recent rescue cases again involve cargo ships with 20 crew aboard. That is the scale of the human side of this business. A giant machine, a tiny team, and almost no margin for error. And that tiny crew is not operating in isolation. They are plugged into a global system of charterers, port operators, insurers, brokers, classification societies, and cargo owners. Maersk's ocean network alone serves 500 plus destinations, and one large carrier can call port across dozens of countries every day. The ship is physically controlled by 20 people, but economically it's controlled by a much larger invisible network of contracts and incentives. This is where the story gets serious. A ship at sea is exposed to weather, cargo shifts, piracy, mechanical failures, and geopolitical disruption. The IMO's incident reports and bravery awards keep showing the same thing. Even when crews are small, the consequences of one bad call can be enormous. That is why the industry rewards discipline more than heroics. Most of the time, the story is not about a dramatic rescue. It is about 20 people preventing a problem nobody on shore will ever notice. So when you see a cargo ship, do not think big boat. Think this: a floating machine worth tens or hundreds of millions of dollars, a cargo system tied to global trade, and a small crew, often around 20 people, making sure the whole thing does not fail. That is the real story. Not that ships are huge, it is that the world is so dependent on them that a tiny team can quietly control a floating city and nobody notices until something goes wrong.